So, hello everyone, and welcome to this channel's very first podcast. A couple things to note. Most of the alerts will be muted during the podcast, but for the most part, they'll still pop up. And the podcast is still yet to be named, but it's a work in progress. So, yeah. And then if you miss the stream or anything like that, an edited down VOD will be uploaded to YouTube shortly afterwards. But aside from that, I haven't been streaming very much, and for that I apologize. But I'm going to be doing this more consistently. Not sure about my schedule yet, but we'll work on it, I guess. And today, I guess I'm trying a new bit. It's kind of like a podcast, so every Friday or every other Friday, I'm going to have a different guest on and just talk about something that's interesting or compelling for viewers to watch. And if no one's watching right now, then like I said, this will be uploaded to YouTube anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But our first guest is going to be Michael, a good friend of mine, who he colors manga, which is actually pretty interesting. And I was going to ask him about what his work is like and what he does, even though it's more of a hobby. But I'll have him say hi right now. So Michael, you're good to go.
Hey Brandon, how's it going? I'm Michael. My tag is Phantom, and like Brandon said, I color manga panels as a hobby.
So what got you into this? Like, how did you start? Tell me.
Yeah, there's a bit of a story. So with Discord, I mean, I feel like, your profile pic is pretty much how you like describe yourself or kind of express yourself. See like who you're repping or anything like that. So like, it's usually my profile pics on Discord are usually of my waifus. And this was like maybe about like a year ago. I had like Makoto from Persona 5. I had Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen. And then when I started reading Chainsaw Man at around December, and I was reading volume 1 for the first time, and then I flipped the page and I saw Makima for the first time. You know what I'm talking about, right? You probably saw her in the trailer. She's been my profile pic for the longest time. So I was like, man, wow. And I wanted to and she ended up being my waifu. And I just wanted to use her as my profile pic, because that's what I would do. And
right.
Then, there's, the thing is, compared to Nobara or Makoto, Makima is just like a manga panel. So she's not really colored or anything. He doesn't have a lot of anime representation because since there's no anime yet, so I was I was looking but I still wanted to use her as my profile pic. And so I saw there's colored versions of her all over the place. The fan art is great, but I just love the way that the author Tatsuki Fujimoto, the way he draws her. That's kind of what attracted me to her in the first place. So I'm what to do. So I just decided at one point, you know what? I'm going to take a small bit from a picture and just put color in it. And then use it as my Discord profile pic. I don't care about how good it looks. All that matters is that I had color in it. So I just went online and was yo, they color manga panels. And so found this website. It was a quick tutorial. And the apps that it recommended were free. They were a Sketchbook Pro, which I'll talk more about later.
Right. Did you watch anything on YouTube or anything like that?
At the time, no. I just literally just wanted to get right to it, and just did what that website told me. Yeah. So and I happen to have an iPad and Apple Pencil like this, so it was really convenient. I don't know if you want to see the very first thing I colored, but
yeah, that was actually my other question was what was going to be um, your first panel that you've colored.
Yeah,
If you want to show that,
you.
go ahead. You can go ahead and show that.
Oh, right here, going all the way back up. Beginning. Yeah, that's the very first thing I colored, and this was like like a small bit of like a huge panel. See how like the line art's kind of like the resolution's like not good or anything, like, or pretty much.
Right.
So it's like it's a small bit of a panel, and I just added color to it, like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well then, aside from that, how many panels have you colored thus far? Like, up to this point?
Say like 50.
50, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started around March of this year.
March, okay. And how long does this, like, usually take?
Okay, so if I do it straight, which a lot of times I do, it usually takes like 3 hours at least.
3 hours for one?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I mean, all panels are different though, so who knows?
Right.
3 hours.
How do you select, like, what panels you're gonna color?
Yeah, good question, bro. Okay, so whenever when it comes to selecting manga panels, I'm really picky. I don't just color anything. There's a set of criteria. Honestly, like last summer, I went to the Getty, which is like the art museum here. I don't know if you've been there.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, dude, I mean, I love that place. I could spend like maybe, I don't know, about half an hour, maybe like 10 minutes, like staring at a painting. Well, usually I'm with a group, so they kind of just move along. But usually, if I had 30 minutes to stare at a painting, I would do it because like so many paintings there just inspire me. Because like when you look at a painting, you don't just like, one thing I look at is about like the sort of techniques that they do, in terms of like creating the painting. But I also like see as a whole, like see if there's some like sense of meaning behind it and sense of interpretation I can get from each painting. And I was like, man, I could like, that's a sort of idea. That's a sort of thing I want to accomplish with these manga panels. Like, not just like adding color to something, like how I was with just like doing that Makima, like small Makima bit. I don't want to just add color to something. I want like someone to look at it for a while and appreciate it and, you know, get something meaningful from it. So, I mean, it's not like it doesn't have to, the panel doesn't have to look a certain way. Usually like the bigger it is, the better, since, you know, it's, the line art would be like easier to work with. It had like the panels are usually pretty significant, whether it's like some like a character being like all motivational or something with like a lot of emotion. That's pretty cool too. Oh, you know what? One thing I don't like to do.
Yeah.
Is action panels with the action lines. Sometimes they get kind of awkward to work around. There is.
Well, what do you mean, like with action lines?
Action lines. So, like, okay, I have a panel in mind, but it might be spoilery.
For what anime is it?
No, JJK.
Okay.
No, it's like action lines are like when someone's like punching and you see like all the lines.
I think I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so there's that. It depends on the background too. If there's like a lot going on in the background, there's not like, it just has to wow me as a first impression, and as long as it gets me to be like, oh man, I want to color this. And that's why I love this hobby, is because like you get to pick when you do it, how long you do it. You know, you have a lot of freedom.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then. Do you have any like specific goal in mind when it comes to this hobby? Like, are you trying to do something with it or go somewhere or what?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just really a hobby for me.
Okay.
I like like even when I started back then, I know people have asked me this too. I feel like the satisfaction of just coloring is enough for me. Like I don't care if I'm, if I make it big in social media or whatever else is out there. I just want to, I just appreciate works of art.
Right.
And I don't know, man, just like, I don't know, just like the process of doing it, just like adding color to something, or like, I was kind of like a minute thing, but when you like color over line art, this part is red, the part like right next to it is blue, and just trying to make sure the colors overlap. Those like little things just makes it so that makes the time that I spend doing it satisfying and just like, yeah, it's just satisfying. I don't know if there's anything else to it. I mean, I'm always willing to learn and master my software. And also like there's a big community like behind manga coloring, like on Twitter. I've seen some on Reddit too, and just the more they do it, the more I do it.
Are there any like specific manga that you like to color more than others? Or I guess, and it could also, correlate to like what is your favorite manga to color, I suppose.
Right. I'd probably say Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man? Okay.
To be fair, I've only colored Makima, so I didn't even color the real I didn't even color the Chainsaw Man himself yet. I've colored the main character and other characters from the series, but just because like Makima's my waifu, just coloring her is just like, it's been fun. It's just been more fun than anything else.
I'm not gonna lie. I would have thought you would have said something like Attack on Titan was your favorite, or maybe Jujutsu.
I mean, I like the series in general,
okay.
But
right.
It's just like I said, I get really picky with what I color.
Okay, yeah.
Most of the time, Chainsaw Man just has like more than anything else.
Right.
Like more panels that color.
Okay. Well then, with that in mind, like, and maybe it correlates to like previous questions, but like, what motivates you to like keep going? What keeps that drive to like, constantly do it over and over again?
To be honest, I've had some like throughout my journey up until now, I've had some like times where I had some weeks where I don't color at all. Some weeks where I color like 3 panels a week.
Right.
And kind of goes back and forth. It really depends on like the availability of like panels that I'd want to color. And usually my manga comes out every week. Like watch a bunch of Shonen Jump manga comes out on Sundays. So usually like I spend my Sundays just like coloring stuff whenever there's something I want to color. What motivates me, and like I said, the manga coloring community on Twitter, which I'm active on a lot, is I just see so much great work, and I learn like, fuck. Wait, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I mean it's fine.
I just like learn so many new things on like new techniques that I just always want to get on the app and try something,
Okay, well, I suppose, I asked you earlier what your first completed project was. So let me ask you this then. What has been your latest project that you've completed?
Cool. Let me show you.
Yeah. Let's see it.
Screen share. Okay, this one's going to be from Tokyo Revengers. It is, like, technically manga content, but it's not even spoilery.
Right.
Yeah. Hang on.
Okay.
It's like... Okay.
Right.
So I color this, and then usually what I like to do is I color it, like I finish all the coloring.
And just for clarification, sorry to cut you off, but like this is already like done. This is from the manga artist himself.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't do the illustrations. Like on Twitter, I always say that, like, art by this guy, you know. Yeah, I color over it.
Okay.
It's what everyone does. Okay, so I usually like to color it, and then like put like a black and white filter, and then post the colored version. So like kind of like that. You know, it's colored, it's got shadows, got highlights.
Guess
Bunch of other stuff I added.
Right, you're adding highlights.
And then this is the final product. Do you want me to describe like?
Yeah, just go through. Yeah, go through.
Yeah,
like, take us through your process. Just go ahead.
Okay. You know how I was talking about how I was picky?
Right.
So like when I first saw this panel, I was like, "Damn, what a beautiful moment!" Like, it's just like there's like a whole life lesson behind it. That, you know, like even though you keep losing to someone, or you keep sucking at something, it's not about being the best at something. It's just about not losing yourself. Kind of like what he says. That guy up there, Mikey could.
Okay, and just for clarification too, like, do you quick question here, like, does like for the panels that you decide to color, does the scene have anything to do with your choice? Like you're saying right here that, you know, you like what he's saying, right? So
yeah, for sure. There's like a big message behind it. So I was like, you know what? I really want to color this. I want people to feel what's going on. So
right.
I went with you know, and color scheme's a big thing. Like when you're coloring manga panels, like learning color theory will probably like step up your game like a lot. Knowing like certain, you know, color schemes, like something that makes it look cool, something that makes a scene look warmer. Use like whether you use like using like complementary colors or like analogous colors. So like I think that's a big part of the process behind it to like really, you know, give you that feel.
Right.
And yeah, that's my latest work.
Okay, that looks really good, by the way. That looks amazing.
Thank you.
So then let me go through like the process with you. What do you use to color with? Like, do you mind sharing?
Yeah, it's a free application on the iPad. It's called Autodesk Sketchbook. And usually like the most popular apps that people use are either Clip Studio Paint or Procreate.
I have
or
Clip
PSD.
Studio. Yeah.
What? You paid for it?
No, I pirated it. I should not say that, but I pirated it.
Your login. Yeah, anyway, and you know, a lot of people color on PC, but I just like the precision you get with the Apple Pencil,
right,
and the iPad. So, and yeah, I mean, I feel like Sketchbook is pretty complex. It's not like too simple or anything. It's got like you can like edit brushes, and it's got a bunch of tools, and you can like really make stuff happen. Obviously, but yeah, like I mean, eventually, I do want to try to, you know, get onto those bigger apps in the future.
Okay.
And honestly, like I kind of want to ask like other people how they like color on PC because I don't know how people do it really. But other than that, yeah, that's my app. That's the app that you use.
Well, okay, so obviously, you know, you are talented and you have like you have this hobby of yours. Right. So, you know, everywhere, no matter what you do, you know, you have to start somewhere, right? So let me ask you, how did you learn to color? And, you know, taking into account like shading, lighting, etc.
That's a really good question. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I showed you my first panel a while ago. See how that turned out up until now?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely improvement for sure.
Yeah. So that was like last March up until now.
Right.
One thing I learned first. Honestly, it's probably just the software. Like when you just to explore like the different options you have and different customization options, experimenting, like what certain tools do, what certain brushes, like software features. That's a big part, I'd say. I don't know if it gets
So
talked about
would you
enough.
say that it's more of like learning just how to use the software more than anything else?
No, I think it's just like I think it's something they just don't talk about as much because like I feel like whenever like how do you learn art? Whenever people ask that, you're like, oh yeah, art school, right?
Right.
But like no, when it comes to these things, like like mastering your software is big.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, and then I'd say yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely like looking at what people do on Twitter. I mean, I know I've mentioned it like a bunch of times by now, but yeah, just seeing like yeah, just seeing what they do. Um, there's I know like the Clip Studio website. They have like this 1 hour video showing how someone like in particular colors a manga panel. I think it's important like learning lighting, like how
Yeah.
like I've learned it. I can't. It's hard to get technical about it, but there are videos about there like explaining something like ambient occlusion or basically how light affects an object.
Right. That's something I've, sorry to interrupt, just like, if I've tried to do art or like draw something, color something, the shading and the lighting definitely, they get me. It's kind of tough if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's just how it is. Color theory, I mentioned a bunch of times.
Right.
And it doesn't take that long to learn color theory. It's pretty easy to understand. Anyone can understand that.
Right. Do you mind like showing us the software and like the layers that you put over everything?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay. Actually, there's a bunch of layers behind like a project, but I didn't really get to organize the layers right now.
Right.
But you're asking for the process, right?
Yeah, just that step-by-step process.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So you first put in the picture, and then usually what I like to do is I start with the flat colors for each character. You know what flat colors are, right?
Take me through it.
So, well, it's really anything. It's basically the like the character, for example. It's the character with just the color, like no shadows, no highlights. Those are flat colors. It's the first thing you usually start with, and it's the first thing I start with. I just do like it's called the inkling pen. It's how I used to really color stuff. It's kind of like easy to work with.
Yeah,
it just does that. It's pretty. I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, but you start with the flat colors for each character, and then that includes their hair, their body, their clothing, all of that stuff. And then I go with the character shadows and highlights once I'm done with the flat colors. That's usually that's pretty much the point where you have to decide where your light source is going to be. So like for this one, it's not as obvious here, but it's like right here if you see that.
Could you zoom in on that a little bit?
Talking about for like the big background. It's like right here.
Okay.
I mean, it's not obvious in this picture, so it's not like a really good example. But
right.
Because like you have to decide your light source, because how do you know where to put your shadows? How do you know where to put your highlights? You don't know where your light source is.
Right.
Sometimes I'll show you a website right now. Sometimes when you don't know where the light source is going to be, I use this website called Virtual Lighting Studio, and this for character faces. Let me show you right now. Virtual Lighting Studio. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Let's to start. You got a guy, and then
that threw me off guard for a second. The model.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the default lighting, but basically you can just like move your light around like that. This change the intensity.
Okay.
And if you want, you can even add like an extra light source,
right?
Just in case there's like more to it,
right?
And then there's that. So now you kind of see like where shadows are and where you would put the highlights. Yeah. So that's if you don't know what you're doing. That's like a cheat sheet.
Okay.
Yeah. See,
Okay. So, this is gonna go, completely back to the first question. As you showed obviously your progress, right, from your very first panel to your latest panel, which is this. So, what did you do to like improve? Like, how did you improve as you went on?
You just keep doing it. Like, you keep doing it. Because like obviously you don't know what your software does the first time you see it.
Right.
So the more you just try things, like one thing I learned was maybe like blending, like creating like gradients. Like for example, because usually with a shadow, like there's like a really like on someone's face, there's like this really dark part right here. Like it's not going to be that dark for the entire face, even if there are shadows. So like the shadow is pretty intense here, but not as much like here, like here. It's not as intense as if you would put it there, or if you would see the shadow there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like creating gradients, like knowing which specific brush to use to give that effect. It just doesn't come like the first day. You just gotta like
definitely just keep doing it. Just keep practicing.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing.
I think that goes for a lot of things. Just keep doing it, and you'll get better at it, right?
Yeah, keep up on Twitter,
right?
All that stuff. Yeah.
So do you mind like showing some of your other work that you've done?
Okay. Okay, other work. Just gotta avoid the spoilery ones. Do you want like from the beginning, like?
Just anywhere. Do you want to in like more recently or in the middle? It doesn't matter. Honestly, it's up to you.
I kind of want to show like an evolution.
Okay, that's completely fine. Yeah.
So let's see. All right, what I was showing earlier was like this panel. That was from like around March, April-ish.
If you want to zoom in, by the way, a little bit for anything else.
So like I said, like whenever I do shading, I just kind of guess where it would go. I think that website that I was talking about when I first just started coloring, they told me to just put it like where people would look in an image. So they would look at the nose, eyes, all that stuff. So that's where I put the shading. So I didn't really understand like lighting and shadows and all that stuff. But it's not until here. I don't know when this was. Maybe like 2-3 months later. Maybe a bit sooner. I don't know. Check the date. May 7th. This is
if you want to full screen it too.
Yeah, in a bit. A fan art of Inosuke from Demon Slayer.
Right.
So like that's when I really started like learning more about shadows and highlights and really like incorporating them. And this was mostly as practice. I also thought it looked pretty cool, but yeah.
Right. Okay.
Let's see. This was dope. I used this one. Obviously the original panel looked like this. So I kind of like added like a stock background behind it and like use brushes.
That works really well with it, I actually think.
Right. I use like lighting to kind of like blend the actual character in with like the light or how it's lit.
Right.
Yeah, this one. Okay, so remember that panel, like that first panel I showed you earlier of Makima?
Yeah.
Okay, just remember, keep that in mind. Look at this one. So this is the whole image that from like, so I colored this much.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like use this post as like a sort of evolution of how I did things with like my progress with coloring.
Okay.
So there's that. It's like when I was making this one, I was like, okay, this is the panel. Like this is the panel to show how far I've come. There's that. Yeah, it's cool.
What's that one? That Rent a Girlfriend. I saw that one.
Yeah. Okay. This one was actually pretty cool. Like this one of the panels that I'm talking about. Like it just wowed me from the start, and I feel like someone can just like really appreciate like the emotion and the emotion behind it, and
something
it's like a really hopeful moment.
Right. It's one thing that I really like is the shadows or the reflection at the bottom.
Yeah, that's actually the author actually included that. It's pretty good.
that looks
Originally.
I think and then you color everything, and it really looks good.
Yeah, I remember coloring the background for this one, bro. It's so annoying, Rick. I mean, I know like one thing, like that's why I start with the characters first. It's because it's what I want to do. It's usually the first thing I want to work on is the characters.
Yeah.
And then the background comes in. I'm like, Rick, because it's important to like incorporate your background, but it's like so tedious like doing it. I don't know about you.
I get you. I mean, I don't I don't color, but I get it.
Yeah. I don't know if you want.
What was that?
What's up?
That baseball one that you showed me before.
Mm-hmm.
That looks really.
Yeah, this one.
That one looks really good.
I know, right? Yeah. I remember I came up to you like with some feedback because I wanted to post it, but like I felt so uncertain. That's kind of like a big part of my journey too.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Say something.
No,
it's a big part.
Yeah, go ahead. It's all yours. The floor is all yours.
That's a big part of like, because it was around, I'd say May, when I started making a Twitter to share all my manga panels that I colored. And bro, every time I finish one, there are just these times when I just feel so uncertain. Like, does this look good? Can I post this? Because like when you post something, usually like you don't like go back and like delete it.
Well, definitely. Yeah.
It's just annoying. I don't know if you get annoyed by seeing people do that even. But yeah, I was like, man, does this look good enough? And then I came to you. I'm like, Brandon, can you give me some feedback, bro?
And if you want to like zoom in a little bit on the picture just to get a clearer view.
Okay. What do you want to see? Oop.
Just
Go. I love how
looking all over it.
Her baseball uniform looks.
Yeah, the lighting is pretty good too. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, chapter's called Counterattack with a Home Run. There's a bit of a story behind it. I mean, you'd probably know it from if you read the manga, but I wanted to make it look like a star, like a badass baseball player.
Yeah.
I guess get that sort of feel.
And one of my other questions, I suppose, you kind of already answered it, but I know you post this on Discord, obviously, and you already said you posted it on Twitter. Is there anywhere else that you post your panels, or is that it?
I started posting on Reddit because I found honestly, I probably joined Reddit kind of recently, and I'm not really on it that much, but I found that there's an r/manga coloring, so I'm like, okay, let me just put it there.
Okay.
And then like I post in other Discords like Tokyo Revengers. Like I go into Tokyo Revengers Discord and like post like my recent one in there. Because I like to get as much feedback as I can.
Right.
Like one of the big reasons that kind of got me going was people's like encouragement. When they just tell you good job or nice work, and
I mean,
it's definitely just give you.
It's definitely really good. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the sort of thing that just keeps me going. That people are seeing it, they appreciate it, that stuff.
And do you have any like advice for other people that are trying to do this?
Like trying to stay like on what aspect of manga coloring?
Just manga coloring in general. Like, is there any advice you'd have for people that are trying to do what you do, for example? Like maybe just
I'm about to give some generic advice.
And that's completely fine. Whatever.
because I'm pretty sure you hear it everywhere. Just love what you do. Like I said, I spend like 3 hours doing all this,
Right.
and if you're not someone who's just who can who can just go three, well, I know people are different though. Just like love what you're doing, like it's so hard. Like for me, when I like, if I didn't like what I was doing, I wouldn't just go 3 hours straight coloring a manga panel.
For sure.
Because like
For sure.
whenever I color something, I just like I see like the progress, but like the first hour in, but I'm always like, okay, I want to see the finished product so bad. Like I get super impatient. That's why I end up like just doing it 3 hours straight.
Okay.
Don't do it don't rely on people's like recognition. Um, Make sure you're enjoying like the panels that you're coloring. Because like usually like you don't have to like I have so many rough drafts of like different
Right.
panels.
If you want to show other ones, you can too, by the way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I have so many rough drafts. Here, let me show you the. Hopefully, I don't run into a spoilery one. But what the fuck?
You're good. Don't even worry about it.
Okay, so like this one, I just like, you know what? I don't really want to color it, so I'm just gonna dip.
If you want to zoom on it a little bit more too. Sorry, I keep asking you, but just
Let me just I'll just.
yeah. That's probably.
Which one did I skimp out on? No.
And just for a reminder for like everyone else, this will be on YouTube, and I'll actually upload the full-sized images so you can see them in a bigger screen.
Yeah, like this one's from Shojin X. I was like, like maybe you get the first impression that you like the panel and you're willing to color it, but
Right.
things change, so that sort of thing. So just
Okay.
it's really hard to give advice like that, like without being too generic.
Right.
I'd say just follow manga Twitter, like manga coloring Twitter, Reddit, whatever you're on, and just like see what people are doing. Like
Yeah.
some people also like post like speed paints. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah,
videos
I've seen
of, like,
those videos before. Yeah.
Yeah. You see like their process and how they do things. Yeah, you get better at it.
Okay. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like everything you do is digital, right?
Yeah.
So would you ever consider doing like a physical copy, like on hard paper, of like all of this stuff?
So like, what do you mean by like physical copy?
So I suppose like would you? I don't know. Well, let me ask you this: have you ever created your own manga
No.
or considered it?
That a lot of people like, there have been people that when I tell them, yo, I color manga panels as a hobby, and they're like, oh cool, maybe you should learn to draw too. But like I feel, and I've said this before, I think the satisfaction is enough when it comes to coloring.
Okay.
And like, yes, I would consider it, but right now, no, not right now. Because like I just don't want to do things because people tell me to do it.
For sure.
I just want to do things for myself.
That's
know
good.
you're
Yeah.
we kind of talked about it a little, but I know you're like getting into like film editing, or maybe not as much, but like what if someone told you, oh, you're gonna act too, right? You're gonna do the sound, you're gonna direct too, like, but you're like, you could just probably be the guy who just wants to do the film editing.
Yeah.
Right?
And I get that.
Do you get the analogy? Yeah.
I know what you're saying. For me personally, I wouldn't mind doing other things like branching out because it's part of the same thing, right? They're all just aspects of one final product. So I wouldn't like,
Sure.
you know, if you're making a movie and I'm editing, I wouldn't mind maybe like directing a little bit or doing this or doing that because it's part of it. Maybe it'll make your job easier, but I completely understand what you're saying, you know.
Yeah. And if it's just a hobby, like it's a lot different when you're relying on it as
Right.
like a career or like a means of
Right.
income. But yeah, just because it's a hobby, like that's probably like the big reasons to why I just color.
Okay.
Did you hear about the Shonen Jump Plus app World Maker?
I did not know.
Super long name. Yeah, it's called World Maker. Basically, what it does, it hasn't come out yet, but it's been announced. Basically, it's gonna like let you kind of make your own manga panels without having to draw. It's got like
Oh, I've heard about
background
apps
images.
like that actually. I've seen apps
Oh,
like that or sites that let you do that, but
That's cool. I didn't even know that, but like
I don't know
guess
how
there's
good
one-
they are or how reliable they are, but I've heard about that, yeah.
like there's an official one now for Shonen Jump. So
Okay.
I mean, like you know, like kind of like how I said when I get picky with what I color, maybe I'll get the opportunity to make something I would want to color. So that could be cool sometime in the future. Who knows?
Okay. Well then, aside from, you know, coloring, let me talk a little bit about you. Do you have any other interests or hobbies?
I mean, let's see. I play Smash like sort of competitively, more so in and out. I don't really go to a lot of tournaments, like not recently at least. I just like to practice and play other people and try to get better, but obviously like don't have much time to do that because the fall semester just started.
All right.
And if like, I mean, I watch anime.
What's your
I
favorite
read
anime?
manga. So I haven't been able to tell anyone what my favorite anime was because I can't really decide on one. But I can give you related answers. My favorite character is anime character is Akame from Akame Ga Kill. My favorite manga is Tokyo Ghoul Re and Chainsaw Man. And yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. You really wouldn't say anything from like Attack on Titan or JJK or anything like that
What do you mean?
as part of like your favorite-ish
Favorite-ish?
section.
I mean,
I don't know. Well,
'Cause, like,
okay,
when I
let me clarify this then. What do you rank as a 10 in a show? What is your version of a 10? 10 out of 10.
probably like Perfect Blue.
Perfect
I haven't
Blue.
seen it in a while, but
Okay.
man, that movie is just it's quite a ride. Maybe the closest thing I think is a 10 is maybe Assassination Classroom.
Okay.
It was just that fucking good. Yeah. Dude, it's hard, bro. Like like I said, when people ask me my favorite anime, I think of one anime, and there's really not that one anime. Because like I don't rewatch anime. I don't know if you do, but like
Yeah, I do for sure.
you do.
Yeah.
I could never get myself to do that stuff. I tried to rewatch Akame Got Killed because I love Akame, and just kind of
Okay.
just ended up stop rewatching it. I mean, I guess I'll rewatch it with other people, but like
Right.
not like I don't voluntarily do that stuff. So I feel like that's a big factor as to like what would make your favorite anime. So, would you say?
I suppose. I mean, at the end of the day, it really is just personal preference, right?
Yeah.
But there's universally like just really good ones out there that mostly everyone likes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I just gonna touch up on this just a little bit, and I believe you mentioned it earlier, but you know, when I was asking you about if you would ever consider creating your own manga, but are you any good at drawing since you color?
I can like come up with something. Like my little brother does it more than I do,
Okay.
but I'm not really that good.
So just coloring is your expertise, that area.
Yeah, I just hate like usually when I draw something, pretty sure a half a second later, I'm always like erasing it and restarting. So like I just don't have that confidence. I don't practice enough because I feel like coloring, like drawing, you have to be constantly practicing, I think. But with manga coloring, I remember that latest panel that I showed. I hadn't colored like in so many months. No, in a month or two, and I'm still like doing it, bro. So without much practice. Yeah.
And then I guess, and going back to, your panels, do you have any idea what your next project is going to be?
Yeah, so since the fall semester started, if I do see a panel, I have to really, really want to color it because I'd be like sacrificing days in and days out. Probably like
Right.
probably like sneaking in some time to color during lecture.
Yeah.
And that's pretty bad, I think.
I suppose if you look at it that way.
I mean, unless the lecture's boring, but like you gotta pay attention. So usually that's what it end up doing, and I just don't want to like color anything that I won't just want to color. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I actually don't really have that many questions at all left for you, but is there any closing remarks or closing statements you would like to say?
Like on manga coloring.
Just in general.
General.
Manga coloring, yeah, you could do that if you want, or you could say anything else.
We talk about like I wasn't ready to answer this question. Okay, so your podcast is about people with interesting talent.
Well, at the end of the day, it's just a podcast. It's something to talk about. And if it's something that's, interesting, intriguing, eye-catching, then I'll try and talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just try new things. Sometimes it can be like pretty hard for me to try new things, but I think like manga coloring has been like something that's kind of like that I think for me getting started on it was pretty. I didn't feel like I was going out of my comfort zone. That's why I just end up like doing it.
Right.
But like if you're you, bro, I mean it's something I'm working on, but if you see an opportunity to like do something, but it ends up like being out of your comfort zone, there will be a day, bro. There will be a day when you just do it,
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.